The most important rule of trading is to play great defense, not great offense. That's Paul Tudor Jones, one of the greatest traders ever. When most traders hear this, they nod politely and then go right back to hunting for the next big win. They think it's just something rich traders say to sound wise. One of the big reasons why most traders fail is because they have the entire game backwards. They treat trading like an offensive game when it's actually a defensive one. They focus on scoring when they should be focused on not getting scored on. They're trying to hit home runs when the real game is about not striking out. You see this everywhere. Traders pass a funded account challenge and immediately breach it within days. Why? Because the moment they get funded, they stop thinking about protection and start fantasizing about all the money they're about to make. They start calculating what they'll buy with the payouts. They become eager, too enthusiastic, and the account is gone before the first payout even arrives. Every blown account, every trader who used to trade, every person who quit the markets, they all made the same mistake. They played offense when they should have played defense. And once you understand this flip, once you see trading through the defensive lens, everything changes. The rules that felt restrictive suddenly feel protective. The patience that felt boring suddenly feels powerful. Most people think trading is about making money. Wrong game. Trading is about not losing money. And before you roll your eyes, understand these are completely opposite approaches that lead to completely opposite results. Someone playing offense thinks, how can I turn this 10,000 into 20,000 fast? They're looking for opportunities everywhere. Every candle is a potential entry. Every setup is worth taking. They size up when they're confident. They're aggressive because aggression equals results, right? Someone playing defense thinks, how do I make sure this 10,000 is still here next month? They're not looking for opportunities. They're looking for traps. They're not asking, can I take this trade? Instead, they're asking whether they should take the trade. In trading, great defense automatically creates offense. Protect what you have, avoid stupid losses, and eventually you'll catch the winners. But you can't play great offense and hope defense appears. One moment of lost control, one oversized position, one emotional revenge trade, and you're done. Game over. Restart. There's a trader who went from 8,000 to 80,000 in 6 months. Everyone wanted to know his strategy. Then he gave it all back in 3 weeks. Not because the strategy stopped working, because he stopped playing defense. He got cocky, sized up, started forcing trades. The market doesn't care how good your last 6 months were. Now, does this mean offense doesn't matter? Of course not. You still need a strategy. You still need to identify good setups. You still need to know when to enter and where to take profits. That's your offense, and it matters. But here's the key insight. Your offense only works when your defense allows it to. The best entry in the world means nothing if you risked too much and got stopped out on normal volatility. The perfect setup doesn't matter if you're trading it in a terrible emotional state because you're down big for the week. Defense creates the conditions for offense to succeed. It's not that offense doesn't matter. It's that defense matters more because it determines whether your offense ever gets a chance to work. Trading is a survival game first, profit game second. The question isn't, how much can I make today? It's how do I stay alive long enough for my edge to work? When you play great defense, offense becomes automatic. It's counterintuitive, but here's how it works. When you cap your downside, when you avoid overtrading, when you accept losses quickly, when you trade smaller than your ego wants, you remove fear and desperation from your decisions. And when fear and desperation disappear, everything gets easier. Your execution improves because you're not emotionally invested in any single trade. Your thinking clears up because you're not in panic mode. Your patience expands because you're not desperate for a winner to save your week. You start waiting for A-plus setups instead of forcing C-tier garbage. You start taking profits at logical targets instead of praying for miracles. You start following your actual plan instead of improvising based on anxiety. That's offense. Real offense. But it only comes from defense. Someone tracked their best trading months versus their worst. The best months weren't when they were aggressive and took the most trades. They were when they were selective and disciplined. Small losses. Tight risk management. walking away when things fell off. The money came because they weren't chasing it. They just played defense and let good trades happen naturally. Here's another angle. When you're protected on the downside, you can afford to be patient on the upside. You can let winners run. You can wait for perfect entries. You can pass on mediocre setups without feeling like you're missing out. But when you're already down, when you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole, you can't afford patience. You need a win now. You need something to happen. And that desperation is what gets you killed. Defense gives you the luxury of patience. And patience is literally the only edge most profitable traders have. Think about the best trade you ever took. I bet you weren't desperate that day. I bet you were calm, waited for your setup, executed cleanly, and managed it without emotion. Now think about your worst trade. Completely opposite, right? Forcing it, chasing it, emotional, reactive. Same person, same strategy, different defense. But let's be clear, defense alone doesn't make money. You still need a valid offensive strategy. You still need to know what you're looking for, when to enter, where to exit. Defense without offense is just preservation without growth. The magic happens when both work together. Your offense identifies the opportunities. Your defense ensures you survive the opportunities that don't work out. Your offense catches the wins. Your defense prevents the losses from canceling out those wins. It's not defense or offense. It's defense first, then offense. Defense creates the foundation. Offense builds on that foundation. Here's what most losing traders have in common. And it's not what you think. They're not stupid. They're not uneducated. They don't lack strategy. They're overaggressive. When they trade, they're over-leveraged, overconfident, and emotionally reactive. They're trying to force results. They're playing hero ball. And markets destroy hero ball. You've seen this trader. The one who sizes up after 2 wins because they're feeling it. The one who takes 8 trades when their plan says 3 max. The one who holds losers way too long because admitting defeat feels like weakness. All offense, 0 defense. And it bleeds accounts dry. The cruel irony? These traders think they're being bold. They think hesitation is for weak traders. They think aggressive equals profitable. What they're actually doing is confusing activity with progress. Confusing risk with edge. Confusing gambling with trading. There's a guy who thought he needed to trade bigger to make real money. Kept sizing up. Had a great week, made $4,000. Felt unstoppable. Next week, gave back $6,000. The strategy didn't change. His defense disappeared. Now he's stuck in a loop. Makes money, gets confident, sizes up, loses it back. Over and over. Because he never learned that offense without defense isn't trading. It's just taking risks with no protection. Professional traders are boring. They risk small. They wait. They protect capital like it's sacred. They're not trying to hit home runs. They're trying not to strike out. And over time, the singles and doubles compound into more than any home run ever would. Here's what separates them. Professionals expect to be wrong frequently and plan accordingly. Amateurs expect to be right and scramble when they're not. But notice what the professionals aren't doing. They're not avoiding offense. They're not sitting on the sidelines, scared to trade. They're taking trades. They're being aggressive when appropriate. They're pushing for profits when the setup is right. The difference is they know when to be aggressive and when to pull back. They have offensive firepower, but it's controlled by defensive discipline. Like a professional fighter who can knock you out, but chooses their shots carefully because getting hit matters more than landing one big punch. Aggression without defense is recklessness. Defense without aggression is stagnation. The profitable trader understands both and knows which one takes priority. You know why institutions survive decades in the markets while retail traders disappear in months? It's not better strategies. It's not insider information. It's not resources. It's because they think about risk before opportunity. Every single time. Their entire decision-making process starts with what happens if we're wrong, not how much can we make. That's defense as a mindset. That's the difference between professionals and gamblers. When you start thinking this way, trading transforms. Before any trade, what happens if this goes against me? Where's my stop? How much am I risking? Can I be wrong on this trade and 3 more like it and still be fine? If those answers aren't crystal clear, the trade doesn't happen. Doesn't matter how good the setup looks. A good setup without proper defense is just a gamble with technical analysis slapped on top. Professionals expect to lose. They plan for it. They build everything around the assumption they'll be wrong constantly. Their defense is so airtight that being wrong doesn't even register emotionally. Amateurs hope to win. They don't want to think about losing. They barely prepare for it. They assume trades will work out. And when they don't, they panic. They improvise. They break every rule they set. Here's a simple test. If someone asked you right now what your maximum possible loss is this week, could you answer in 2 seconds? If yes, you think like a professional. If no, you're gambling. Professionals know their numbers cold. Max loss per trade, per day, per week. Drawdown limits. When they stop trading, all of it predetermined before they take a single position. Defense isn't reactive. It's planned, systematic, non-negotiable. There's a fund manager who tells new traders, your job isn't to make money. Your job is to not lose money. If you can do that, I'll give you more capital. If you can't, you're done. That's the real game. But here's what people miss about that statement. Not losing money doesn't mean not taking trades. It means not taking stupid trades. It means not letting losses spiral. It means knowing when to walk away before damage becomes disaster. These fund managers still want their traders hunting opportunities aggressively. They want them capitalizing on edge. They want profits, but only within the defensive framework that ensures survival. It's like telling a race car driver, your job is to not crash. If you can do that, we'll let you drive faster. The speed matters. The racing matters. But the not crashing matters more because without it, there is no racing. Now, here's something most traders don't realize until it's too late. Trading is an asymmetric game. You lose faster than you win. What does that mean? Simple. Losses hurt you more than gains help you. And the math on this is absolutely vicious. If you lose 50% of your account, you need to make 100% just to get back to break even. Not 50%, 100%. Let that sink in for a second. You have $10,000. You have a rough month and you're down to $5,000. Now you need to double your remaining capital just to get back to where you started. Double it. How long did it take to lose that 50%? If you were playing aggressive offense, maybe a few bad days, maybe one catastrophic week, maybe even one terrible trading session where everything went wrong. How long will it take to make it back? If you're disciplined and risking properly, months, maybe longer, maybe a lot longer. That's the asymmetry. Destruction is fast. Recovery is slow. This is why one bad day can erase weeks of good trading. Why one emotional sequence can undo months of discipline. Why one moment where you lose control can cost you more than a dozen wins can make you. Someone spent 3 months grinding their account from 11,000 to 14,000. Slow, steady, disciplined trading. 3,000 in profit. Then one bad day, didn't follow their stop loss, held a loser too long, tried to revenge, traded back. Boom, down to 8,000. Lost 6,000 in one session. 3 months to make 3,000. 1 day to lose 6,000. That's not bad luck. That's the asymmetry of trading, showing you why defense matters more than offense. The math doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care that you deserve to recover faster. It doesn't care that you had a good reason for breaking your rules. The math is cold, and it's working against you every time you take a big loss. This is why professionals are paranoid about losses. Not because they're scared, not because they lack confidence, because they understand the asymmetry. They know that avoiding one big loss has more impact on their bottom line than catching one big win. They know that preservation beats home runs. They know that singles and doubles, compounded over time with minimal damage, beat the occasional grand slam that comes with frequent strikeouts. Here's the thing about asymmetric games. You can't win them by playing both sides equally. You have to weight your strategy toward the side that matters more. In poker, that means protecting your chips. In business, that means managing downside risk. In trading, that means defense comes before offense because the damage from being wrong exceeds the benefit from being right. You could be right 6 times and wrong 4 times. And if those 4 losses are big enough, you're still broke. That's asymmetry. But if you keep your losses small and let your winners run even moderately, you could be right 4 times and wrong 6 times and still be very profitable. Same asymmetry used in your favor. The game is rigged against careless traders. The math heavily penalizes mistakes. But that same math richly rewards traders who understand that not losing big matters more than winning big. The balance between defense and offense. Here's what I need you to understand. This isn't about abandoning offense. This isn't about being scared or passive or overly cautious. This is about understanding the hierarchy. Defense comes first, not because offense doesn't matter, but because defense determines whether your offense ever gets a chance to matter. You can have the best offensive strategy in the world, the perfect entry system, the ideal profit targets, the most accurate market reads. None of it means anything if you blow up your account before your edge has time to play out. Defense keeps you in the game. Offense lets you win the game. But you can't win if you're not in it. The best traders are masters of both. They know when to press their advantage. They know when to be aggressive. They know when a market is offering them something special and they need to capitalize hard. But they also know when to pull back, when to reduce size, when to walk away, when to protect what they've built instead of risking it for more. That balance, that's the art of trading. Knowing when to play offense and when to play defense. And understanding that when in doubt, defense is always the safer choice because you can always take another trade tomorrow, but you can't trade if you're out of capital today. The traders who get this right don't agonize over every decision. They have rules that make the decision for them. Risk is capped. Losses are controlled. Gains are captured systematically. Within those defensive boundaries, they hunt aggressively. They take trades with conviction. They size appropriately. They let winners run when the setup calls for it. Defense and offense working together. Not opposing forces, but complementary systems. Paul Tudor Jones said it. Now you get it. Not that offense doesn't matter, but that defense matters more. Trading rewards people who protect their downside so well that upside becomes inevitable. Not because they're the smartest, not because they're the fastest, but because they're still in the game when everyone else has blown up and quit, and they're still executing their offensive strategy within a defensive framework that ensures survival. Defense keeps you alive. Offense makes the journey profitable. Both matter, but one matters more because without it, the other becomes irrelevant. So why don't you try this? Over the next 30 days, make defense your priority. Not your only focus. Your priority. Still wait for good setups. Still take trades. Still be aggressive when the moment calls for it. But never, ever compromise on the defensive rules that keep you alive. Risk small. Use hard stops. Cap your daily loss. Walk away when you hit it. Trade like capital protection is non-negotiable. Because it is. Do that for 30 days and watch what happens. Your offense won't suffer. It'll improve. Because you'll be executing it from a place of strength instead of desperation. The game isn't how much can I make. The game is how do I survive and execute my edge consistently. Survive long enough while executing well, you win. That's it. That's the secret that's not really a secret. If this clicked for you, drop a comment below. Thanks for watching.